You admit that you have slapped Tina before, but why, Ike?
She was the queen of rock and roll, performing to crowds bigger than Beyonce and Taylor Swift combined.
With everything from shoes to coat hangers, once putting a burning cigarette to her lips.
Okay, I can stop you. I know where you're going. She would be walking around looking sad, and I keep asking her, what is the matter with you?
There were signs something bad was happening, but everyone laughed it off.
Ike usually.
And it's always, nothing. And then this is where I would slap her or something.
And here they are, Ike and Tina Turner.
I'm amazed to read some of those performances with him. You had blood in your mouth.
We were very close as friends.
I still don't understand. Why did you stay for so long?
I went into his room and he started to touch me. I really didn't like it because that was my brother, that was my friend. And then the next thing, he would pick up something because, you know, if you play guitar, you can't fight and play the guitar, so he always fought with something.
Yeah.
And then against the head, always the head, with a shoe stretcher. And it really hurt, but I was still trying to figure out what was happening. And then, the beating came. I said, I was down by then, really starting to cry. And then he said, get in bed. That was really awful. Have sex after dinner? No, I hate you. How can I let you, how can we make love now if it's love?
Yeah.
And went through that, and then I laid there with a swollen head, just having sex.
Tina knew Ike could be dangerous. He was a powerful man filled with rage, but she never thought he would turn against her.
He was like her hero, like a big brother. And he seen her like his little sister. That relationship was very beautiful. It really was.
That was something that was a foundation. It was the kind of love that, a family love, that I don't think I would have had to ever worry about like anything, that sort of thing.
But as she lay on the floor after Ike's brutal attack, bruised and covered in blood, Tina knew that brotherly love had turned into something much more sinister.
And that was the beginning of the torture. That was the beginning of how it was. I had to lay down, and he would stand over me and drew this hanger and just on my fanny. I swear to God, my fanny swelled 2 inches higher, and then he would screw me. And then right back on stage, he'd make me go on stage and say, "You sang, you motherfucker, because you made me do it."
He created this Frankenstein thing, and he had to control that. So he had to change that thing from being my little sister. No, you got to be my wife now.
On stage, Ike and Tina seemed like the perfect couple, captivating the world with their music.
When I was a teenager back in the 60s, I knew of their record that they had out, but I had never seen them. And then they came on TV, and I saw her dancing, and that's all I could look at. I was just so amazed at this woman. It's wild. It's your sensuality and sexuality, and it's in your face.
Did you ever study dancing? No. And what about music? Singing?
No music at all. Everything is just natural for me. I'm a performer, and I sing, and Ike does the managing and producing.
But when they stepped off stage, the cracks started to appear.
I know how Ike does it. Ike doesn't talk. He saves his energy. It's easy for him. That's why he's always up and you finish and you're exhausted. Ike hasn't said anything.
After the show, Ike usually has a party afterwards. Now, I don't know how relaxing those parties are.
On camera, Tina was all smiles and laughter, so no one ever questioned their relationship. But out of the spotlight, Tina's smile vanished. If she wasn't on stage or in the studio, she was at home looking after Ike's children. She had no true friends or anyone to confide in. Ike insisted on knowing her every move, leaving her with no freedom beyond the small allowance he provided. And yet, no matter how abusive and controlling he became, Tina couldn't bring herself to leave.
I cared what happened to him, and I knew that if I left, there was no one to sing. So I was caught up in guilt and fear.
Ike had given her the keys to her dream. Leaving him meant giving up everything she had worked for.
Ike was very well known in St. Louis, and I was still in high school, very young. And, and I had wanted to sing with this group, too young to go in the clubs, but I sort of put on makeup and so forth to get in. And when I finally got to him, I asked him if I could sing with him, and he says, "Yeah, I'll call you." Yeah, you know.
Yep.
So then, but he never called me. So one of the musicians set one of the microphones down one night, and I took hold of the mic and started singing. Pow.
I always knew that I could sing and dance. It was just a gift that I was born with. It was just within me, some innate ability there that brought the fantasy into my mind, and movies. Just made me dream about there is something else other than Nutbush or this way of life.
My mother and father, they fought from the very beginning. But my mother always fought back. Boy, I remember. She used to sit in the window of the kitchen when she was making dinner on Sundays and always stare out. I thought she was so pretty. I used to just watch her. One day she wasn't in that window. She was never in it again. Daddy came home, he sort of panicked, and then he left. And there was no contact with my mother and father once they left. They didn't send money back for food. They didn't send money back for clothes. So we were stuck with becoming independent.
After Tina married Ike, she desperately tried to mend the relationship with her mother.
Ma was not kind. When I became a star, of course, then she was happy because I bought her a house. I did all kinds of things for her. She was my mother, but she still didn't like me. Even after I became Tina, she didn't want me. She didn't want to be around me, even though she wanted my success.
Ike had given Tina the only family she had ever known, but she couldn't protect them from his rage. Their children would have to listen to Tina's screams from behind the bedroom door.
I remember one time he was striking my mother, and I was young, and he had thrown some scalding hot coffee on her. And I banged on the door. And I said, "Mother," and then it stopped. And then she said, "Craig, I'm okay."
But Tina was far from okay.
I went to the doctor and I told him that I hadn't been sleeping and that I need some sleeping pills or whatever. And this particular night I went in and I took the whole bottle in one swallow. And I felt, this is it, no more. I did not make it to the stage. I remember being in the car and him sticking his finger down my throat, trying to make me throw up. And finally I went unconscious.
Tina was rushed to the hospital where the doctors pumped her stomach and saved her life. But when she woke up, the first thing she saw was the one person she was trying to escape.
Ike went in and started talking to me and my pulse started. I was insanely afraid of that man.
Tina knew once and for all she had to leave Ike, even if it meant walking away from her dream. So one night, in front of a packed audience, she made it very clear what she really wanted.
I'm going to talk about respect. Because you see, respect is what I want. I think it's what most of us want. But you know, we don't always get what we want, especially us women. The men always manage to get what they want whenever they want to do it. And you know what? They do it with whoever they want to do it with. But fellas, you started us women to thinking, yeah, we can think too. We think that whatever's out there in the streets must be good. Now those women wants to go out there and get us some too.
It was something that came over me, like, this is it, you know, the door is open, I'm out of here.
After that performance, sitting in the car with Ike, Tina found the strength to do what she'd never done before.
We were driving to the airport. I was wearing like a white suit, and Ike was eating chocolate candy. He handed me chocolate candy and it was melting, you know, that's hot. And he hit me. I was pissed this time. It wasn't about fear, like, oh, I'm gonna get it. It's like, no, I'm not. I'm fighting back today. That was my attitude. So I pointed my finger in his face and said, I'm not gonna take your licks anymore. And I started hitting back and I yelled. And he says, this mother never talked to me like this before. And you know, that's right. But I am now because I knew I was gone. I was flying. I didn't know how. I knew that was it.
That night, Tina gathered all the courage she had left and attempted to break free.
So he was asleep, finally, and I was sitting there thinking, my heart was in my ears, boom, boom, because I didn't know that when I walked out of the room, I could have run into some of his people, but then there was something there that I didn't really care. So I just grabbed my bag and I put some little cap on my head because it was so swollen that it was beyond wearing a hairpiece or anything. And I started to walk. It was like a movie, but the walking became trotting and then running. Hotel I didn't know, the Hilton in Dallas, it was brand new. And I ended up in the back, all the trash cans and rubbish. And I sat there.
With her heart pounding in her chest, Tina knew she had to get as far away from the hotel as possible.
I walked across the freeway to the remodeled inn. I was very proud. I mean, I felt like, I felt strong. I mean, I'd never done this. I asked for the manager. The manager came out and I said to him who I was, showed him my driver's license. I said, all I have is a mobile car and 36 cents. He gave me a very nice room. I called an attorney friend. He arranged for a ticket and a friend to take me to the airport. Took a plane the next day about 3 o'clock into LA. And I went in hiding where he didn't know where I was. The next day, it was the 4th of July, and I said, quarter 4th of July. But I'll remember every time, the 4th of July is when I got my freedom.
Although Tina had escaped Ike's abuse, his grip on her life still clung to her. He still controlled every aspect of Tina. And when she filed for divorce, he tried to take it all for himself.
I got nothing. No money, no house, no car.
He got all like old royalty rights and...
He got everything. There's no connection now with Ike and Tina Turner that I own.
And that's what he wanted. I mean, he just said, if you're leaving...
he wanted to own me. I was prepared to go through whatever I had to go through with Ike Turner, even if it was death, because I would never go back.
Tina walked away from her dream and everything she had made to make sure she didn't have to be with Ike ever again. But there was one thing she wasn't willing to give up.
The judge called us into the chamber. I said, actually, there is something that he has that I want. That is when I realized that I could use Tina to become a business. And so I said, I'll just take my name. Ike fought a little bit because he knew what I would do with it. And it was through court that I got it. Tina.
With nothing but her name and her newfound freedom she had fought so hard for, Tina had to rebuild not just her life, but everything she had lost. There was no safety net, no one to catch her. She was alone. But she was relentless. Night after night, she performed in small dive bars, pouring every ounce of herself into every song. Slowly, she clawed her way back through clubs, television performances, and eventually, arena stages.
This 50-year-old woman playing stadiums throughout Europe and having an audience ranging from about 15 to 60 was pretty amazing.
When I'm on stage and it's like 20,000 people, then you know that it's all worthwhile, you know. But it's really a lot that goes on behind the scenes when I've never been this big before, you know what I mean? And it's just incredible.
That concert in Rio, there's 186,000 people there.
You can't imagine what it's like for me to finally stand there and draw all those people. It's a feeling of like, I did it. And it's really genuine. It's almost like magic because you're standing there and they're really giving you the love.
Tina had done the impossible. She had defied all expectations, becoming an even bigger star in her own right, inspiring the singers of tomorrow.
When I was a kid and I saw her tapes, I wanted to be like her.
I remember as a little girl looking up to her, and she was more than just like a great singer. She was like rock and roll. It was okay to be like fun and rock and roll and not neat.
When you look back at your life and now you're in the nirvana stage of your life, what is the legacy of Tina Turner?
My legacy is that I stayed on chorus from the beginning to the end because I believed in something inside of me that told me that it can get better or you can make something better and that I wanted better. So my legacy is a person that strived for wanting it better and got it.